Hello, my friends. Welcome to another travel vlog, which again, I'm coming to you from the future because I have been home for a few days now. I've been back from Copenhagen, but I never got the chance to check in with you guys beforehand. I have plenty of recommendations for you, not only when it comes to shopping, but also going to restaurants, going to see museums, going to explore Copenhagen. So if you're planning a trip to Copenhagen, if you know anyone who's planning a trip there, this vlog is definitely for you. I think we ended the last vlog with me having brunch at a traditional Danish brunch spot, which, as I said, I was really happy to try. After which I went straight back to Illum, which is the department store that we visited in my last vlog. But this time I went back to actually stop by a boutique within the department store, a boutique that I was told carries Celine, Loewe, Dior, amongst some other brands, specifically for men. And there were two pieces I was looking for. I wanted to try a pair of sneakers and I was looking for jeans. I just need to update my denim collection because most of my jeans have seen better days. So I actually looked at some of Celine's jeans, which I had really high hopes for, but none of them actually had any elasticity to them, which I just need when it comes to jeans. I need my jeans to mold to my shape just a little bit unless I'm buying really oversized jeans. I just need a little bit of elastin in my jeans. And then I also had a chance to check out some of Dior's jeans, which if you know anything about denim, you know that the best denim actually comes from Japan. And surprisingly, that's where Dior's jeans are made. But unfortunately, most of them have some sort of branding to them, which is quite obvious. And that's just simply not what I'm looking for when it comes to everyday pieces that I want to wear on a regular basis. And most of the pieces actually in this boutique had some pretty obvious and heavy branding to them. But moving on to some Dior pieces, you will probably recognize this striped shirt if you watched my London vlog. These are in the same collection as the underwear that I wanted to get from the runway, and they actually had a pretty good selection of Dior pieces. They had some Dior knits, they had quite a few different shirts, and then some new pieces from Celine. And here are the infamous underwear that I have been telling you guys about. It's not something that I'm going to buy, but I do still find them pretty cool. And then here are some of the classic CD t-shirts and hoodies, which you may remember me. I think I bought one last year just around Black Friday. And then what do you guys think about this cashmere sweater from Dior with the doggy on it? I thought it was adorable. I wish it came in some more muted colors because this color palette is definitely not for me. But I have to say it was really cute. And I have to admit, this look I am in love with, which is the gray Dior bar jacket. This is one of Dior's takes on a bar jacket for men, which I have been eyeing. Unfortunately, this was the only size that they had, which is a 48, which actually fit me quite well, but the shoulders were a little bit too big for my liking. I find that Dior shoulders tend to be quite not oversized, but they are a little bit big for me, and I can never have them properly tailored. So I have to get this jacket in a size 46. And I would love to hear your thoughts on the beret. I don't know, I'm not really a hat kind of a guy, but this I really, really liked. I'm just not sure if I would actually be able to wear this often enough to get my money's worth out of it, but I would love to know what you guys think. And then let's move on to the fitting room and see what I actually ended up trying. So here are some Celine jeans, which as I said, I tried, but they were just simply not for me. I like the color, I like the fabric, but they were just way too stiff. As I said, I need my jeans to be a little bit more malleable. And then this sweater is actually from, I think it's from a French brand, which I really liked this particular piece on the hanger, but in person, it just wasn't a great fit. And it was also insanely itchy. But you guys know I'm a sucker for a good sleeve detail, and this I definitely loved. If this piece was a little bit more refined, I would have definitely bought it. Even though I'm not really a turtleneck kind of guy, I loved the stripe details, but the quality definitely left me wanting more. But if you're interested in this brand, here is the brand name. They actually had some pretty cool pieces that I love the look of, but again, for the price, the quality just wasn't quite there for me. And then speaking of knitwear, here's another piece of knitwear which I tried. This time it's from Celine, which I had really high hopes for because I love my classic Saint Laurent pieces. And as we all know, Celine these days is pretty much all around 2.0. So I tried this sweater, which was 100% wool, and it was pretty itchy, I have to be honest. I liked the little Celine Triumph detail. I liked how subtle it was. To be honest, from the far, it almost looked like a piece of Chanel knitwear just because of the way the two sort of links intertwined. It almost looked like a double C, but it wasn't. It is from Celine, and it's their Triumph little logo, which I do think is pretty cute. And I like this sweater. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but it was pretty itchy. It was 100% wool, and let's be honest, I have 20 different pieces that are virtually identical, but are made of better materials. But if you're looking for a really simple black knit piece, you're not into cashmere, you want something that is a little bit more full-bodied and less sensitive, this I would definitely put on your radar. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking either. Next up, a piece which I have been on the hunt for I don't even know, month, if not a year at this point, which are the new classic, well, new and classic don't really go hand in hand, but I hope you know what I mean. These are a new pair of sneakers that Celine recently launched. I think they launched these maybe late last year, and these are becoming one of their staple pieces, which I have been trying to hunt down, but they seem to be sold out everywhere. But I might be in luck because a great friend of mine has just helped me get them. I didn't buy them here, but at least I was able to try them, so stay tuned for the unboxing. And next up, we actually went to Cartier, not because I was looking for anything, but I really hadn't been to Cartier in ages, and it's one of the brands that I'm most often asked about, so I thought I would stop by for a quick browse to see if there's anything new, which they didn't have anything new in stock, but they definitely had some pieces that I hadn't really looked at before, including these Trinity rings with one of the pavé bands. I feel like if you want to buy something from Cartier and you don't want to go down the traditional route of buying something from the Just Un Clos range or the Love range, but actually we'll get back to the Just Un Clos range in just a second, I would definitely consider the Trinity collection, which in my opinion have that quality that you are accustomed to seeing from Cartier, but they are so much more subtle, understated, and in my opinion also more refined. And then another collection which I really love is their so-called Panther collection, which I do have an entire dedicated vlog on, which I'll make sure to link down below for you. And since I was here, I also wanted to have a look at a couple of their necklaces, including the Just Un Clos necklaces, which I don't think I had ever had a proper look at before. But if I was going to buy something from this line, from the Just Un Clos line, it would definitely be one of their pendants, which I would make the chain a little bit longer for, because I do think that for the size of the pendants, the chains are a little bit too short. And I was actually told that Cartier is able to do that, and the first 4 centimeters, which would make a pretty big difference, would be free of charge. And you can obviously make these chains as long as you want to, but after the first 4 centimeters, you would have to pay for each additional link. And then if you have the Just Un Clos preset in your collection, this is the way I would style it. I think it does look really nice over chunky knitwear piece. So if you're still eyeing that piece and you're looking for my thoughts for whatever that's worth, this is how I would personally style it. Next up, we stopped by a bar called Ruby, which is one of the, well, it's supposed to be one of the best bars in Copenhagen, and I have to agree. I don't drink, so they made me an amazing virgin cocktail, but the experience and the ambiance I very much enjoyed, so I would highly recommend it. And then we didn't even realize, but the restaurant we were going to that night was pretty much next door from Ruby's, which was again a fine dining restaurant. If you watched my previous vlog, you'll know that I'm not really into fine dining, but the food was a little bit better than it was at Alchemist. I mean, the experience wasn't the same, but the food was a little bit more edible in my opinion. And then the night ended at, I think it's called Tivoli, which is basically an amusement park, which is permanently located in a park. And since we were staying right next door, we definitely wanted to check it out. And I'm really glad we did, because they already had their Christmas lights up, which was really adorable. And then the next morning we were up bright and early, because we were not only coming home that day, but we also had a pretty long drive ahead of us. So we wanted to gather some strength and have a hearty breakfast at this amazing brunch spot. If you're going to Copenhagen, you definitely have to have brunch here because it's definitely one of the most interesting brunches that I've ever had. We tried their oatmeal, which I would definitely not get. It was a really weird, not only texture, but also flavor palette. So I would definitely not recommend it. But their French toast I loved, and then their pulled pork was also outstanding. Even though I don't eat pork usually, I had to give this one a taste, and it was pretty amazing. And then we drove about an hour to, one of the highlights of this particular trip, to a modern art museum called Louisiana, which, if you are into modern art, you just have to visit. Honestly, I would probably say that I would go back to Copenhagen just to go to Louisiana one more time. It was so much fun, which, even if you're not into modern art, I'll try to convince you in this video, but even if you're not, it's still worth going to just for the architecture. But here's a little montage for you that I hope will convince you to get into a little bit of modern art. One piece was more beautiful than the other, but if I had to pick my favorite, this would be it, which is a piece of Richard Serra. If you know Serra, you know that he's known for these large scale, usually rolled pieces of steel or steel installations, which it's so rare to find one set like this in nature, which was really unique. But if you come here for the fashion, not for art, well, I have something for you here too, because they actually had a little exhibition of some pictures that showcase the intimate details of Elizabeth Taylor's incredible, insane wardrobe and pieces of jewelry, which, if you know anything about jewelry, you won't be shocked to hear that Elizabeth Taylor obviously had one of the most insane collections of Cartier pieces, some of which they showcased here, not the actual pieces, but really, really beautiful close-up pictures of them. So if you are in Copenhagen, you have to stop by this museum. If it's not for the art, it should be for the architecture. And if that is not any interest to you either, it has to be for the scenery, because it is just the most serene, beautiful place to even just go for a quick stroll. And then we couldn't come home without picking up something for our baby beast, which thankfully we found something at their souvenir shop. So we were also able to buy something for our little monster. And that was pretty much the end of our trip to Copenhagen. Our next stop was at the airport, where we actually had a few minutes to check out the Hermes boutique, which actually had quite a few really unique pieces. So first of all, we looked at some of their men's bags. So they had a large Victoria for men, and then also the Garden Party 49, which would make an amazing travel bag. If you are into the Garden Party and you're looking for an alternative to a duffel, this is something that you can look into. You guys know that the Garden Party isn't my favorite bag, but they had it on display, so I thought I would point it out. And then they definitely had many unique Hermes bag creations, obviously for display purposes only. But if you would like me to do a video breaking down all the Hermes bags that we saw on display, not only at the airport, but also in the flagship store in Copenhagen, let me know, and I can definitely do an in-depth video on some of those bags for you. And this pretty much brings us to the end of this series of vlogs. I really hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, make sure to give them a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. I really hope you enjoyed coming to Copenhagen with us, and I am looking forward to seeing you back here with an unboxing really, really soon.